There was an old, wise man who grew sicker by the day. He felt that his journey on earth is about to come to an end. However, his son was still a young man and had yet to reach his full potential. And so the father took it upon himself to teach his son the ways of the world before death comes knocking. One morning, the old man called for the young man and handed him a watch. The watch was a family heirloom that's been passed down for generations. The boy has never seen it before, though, so he didn't quite know what to make of it. "What am I supposed to do with this watch, father?" asked the boy. "I want you to go to town and take the watch to the jeweler. Show him the watch and ask him how much it's worth. But don't accept any offer. Instead, come back home with the watch." The boy did as he was instructed. He marched into town to hear what the jeweler had to say. After the watch was appraised, the boy went back home to his father. "So what happened? How much money did the jeweler offer for the watch?" His son, looking defeated, spoke while scratching his head. "I don't know, father. I tried haggling with the jeweler, but in the end he didn't offer much. He said it was only worth $100 because it's so old." The father was nodding his head, seemingly in agreement with the jeweler's assessment. His son continued, "The jeweler said he was taking a gamble on buying the watch and that he'd have a hard time finding a buyer. And if I'm being honest, I kind of agree with him. I don't think this watch is anything special." "Okay," the father said. "Now take the watch to the pawn shop. See how much you can get for the watch." His son replied, "What do you hope to sell it for? I don't think the pawn shop is going to make you a better offer than the jeweler." "Just humor me, son. Your best friend owns a pawn shop, right? Don't you think he'll give you a fair offer?" In his mind, the boy disagreed. But he didn't want to argue with his ailing father, so he did the job anyway. He even went above and beyond and went to see two friends who were both working in pawn shops. However, he still went home looking defeated. "Father, I went to a couple of friends who work in pawn shops, but they both gave me worse offers. The best I got was $20. They told me that the watch had problems. There were scratches that even I didn't notice after carrying it with me all day." The father yet again nodded in agreement. "So what do you want me to do? Should I go back to the jeweler? After all, he is willing to pay more money." "No," said the old man. "I want you to go to the museum. There's a woman there that I want you to talk to. I sense that this person will have a better idea of what this watch is really worth." His son, now starting to get annoyed by all this back and forth, reluctantly agreed to walk all the way to the museum to look for his father's friend. "What is this person hoping to say about this watch that I haven't heard already?" he said to himself. After talking to the museum lady, he suddenly went out the door and ran back home to tell his old man the good news. Night has finally set in by the time he got home. "You won't believe it. My trip was a success. We finally got an amazing offer." "Oh, really?" "Yeah. The lady said that this watch is one of a kind. She said she never thought she'd see one in person. She said the museum would like to buy it from us so that they can put it on display." The old man, with a grin on his face, asked, "So how much did she say it was worth?" $35,000. I haven't realized I was holding on to something that valuable. With that much money, our family can really enjoy life. To think the jeweler and the pawn shops I visited had it so wrong. Should we sell it?" "I'm glad for you, son," said his dad. "You can do what you want with that watch after I'm dead. What's more important to me right now is that you learned something about value and self-worth." "What do you mean?" asked his son. "You see, just like that watch, you too have value. And if you go to the wrong places, you'll never know just how much value you have. Even your own friends can get it wrong. But there's always a place you can go to where everyone will see your real value. That's the lesson I'm trying to teach you." The son was wondering about the point of doing all this, but upon hearing his father's explanation, he had a newfound respect for the guy. His father continued, "One day, you'll have a family of your own. You'll have your own kids. Maybe you'll get lucky and have a daughter like you always wanted. To ensure their happiness, you'll have to teach them the same things that I'm teaching you right now." The old man's son learned a lot that night. Their family may not be rich, but that doesn't matter. His father's words were far more valuable than the watch he spent all day getting appraised. Nobody is born without value. We all have something to contribute to the world, and nobody can tell us otherwise. Sometimes bad things happen, so we feel like we're worthless. We forget our past accomplishments. True value lies within, and it is often underestimated or overlooked by others. Just as the old man's watch had hidden worth that only a knowledgeable expert recognized, each person has their unique qualities and potential that may not be immediately apparent to everyone. It's important to believe in oneself, seek out the right people and environments that appreciate and nurture your true worth, and never let others' misconceptions define your self-esteem.